The WNBPA, that is the Players Association, and the WNBA met today for CBA negotiations. Many of the players were in attendance, including Caitlin Clark, and the Players Association has officially put out a statement. So the WNBPA has chosen to opt out of the current CBA. Things have not been looking super positive. I know that players have been talking about a potential lockout. And when the words were first stated, I kind of brushed it off a little bit because it's always hard to know until you get to the table and you start negotiating how serious things are, how much either party is willing to budge. But so far, it just does not look like smooth sailing for these meetings. The players and league officials met today in Indianapolis, which is where the All-Star game will be happening, and many were thinking that this was going to be a pivotal moment in the CBA negotiations. The meeting actually went a lot longer than it was supposed to. I believe it went at least 45 minutes longer than its intended ending. The current CBA expires in October of this year, so the date is looming. Now, there could be negotiations to extend this a bit, and if things are not resolved by then there will be a work stoppage where the WNBA players just stop playing. A few weeks ago, Setu Sabally actually sat down in a post-game interview, and she called the first deal that the WNBA first set in front of the Players Association basically a slap in the face.
We can focus on our players in the union. We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face, and I think we really have to put an emphasis on the players that are in our league right now. But I love to see the league growing. I think, adding these teams in Philly and Detroit, that's how amazing is that the league can grow. But how cool would it also be to have a little bit expansion on the rosters? Let's focus on the teams that have everything set up right now, and maybe focus on the teams also that find excuses continuously to lack investment into their players before we focus on adding more to the grain of people that can't really be sustained.
The Players Association lists of demands are as follows. Salary and revenue sharing. Players are pushing for higher salaries, especially with the league's new media rights deal, and a greater share of the league's revenue. That probably means getting something from their jersey sales, as they don't get a penny from anything that their names are on, which I do see some validity to this. Guaranteed charter travel, roster size, and developmental spots. The roster sizes are pretty small in the WNBA, which makes it so that if anybody gets injured, everybody else has to step up, and there are a lot of minutes that have to be played. But after the initial proposals, the two sides are apparently on opposite ends of the spectrum. But increased salaries, roster sizes, and revenue sharings are three key things that they are looking to see change for the future. Now, I actually read an article where Nneka Ogwumike had talked about going into the meeting positively because a lot of things were done via email, via docs, and she was saying that meeting face-to-face, it feels like you can get a lot more done. But according to Courtney Williams, who is actually doing a 72-hour live stream from Indianapolis this weekend, she got out of that meeting. She was obviously not live streaming in the meeting. Natisha Heidemann, her stud buds partner, was actually holding down the fort while Courtney Williams was in the meeting. But Courtney Williams did get out of that meeting, and she seemed quite overwhelmed. This is basically Courtney Williams has just exited the CBA meeting, and she seems kind of overwhelmed.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. That CBA meeting is so much information, bro.
You good? I'm glad you went though, friend. Thank you. Thank you for
go.
representing us.
I definitely had to represent
I wanted to go, but I had to hold it down for
you
us.
had to hold down the stream. But just being in there, oh my goodness, bro. It was it's just so much that come into play. I gotta go get my energy back right and hyped up for the weekend again, cause
Exactly.
But yes, the WNBA, it's experiencing unprecedented growth, unprecedented viewership. There are going to be 18 teams by 2030. There are 13 now. There were 12 last season. And these most recent 3 new teams were bought for a pretty whopping $250 million. That's pretty big for the WNBA. They did ask Caitlin Clark to join the meeting, of which she did today in Indianapolis. There is no word from any of the players other than Courtney Williams, who was doing her stream, as to specific details of the meeting. But I know Breanna Stewart a few days ago did mention that it could potentially get spicy. And granted, when Caitlin Clark came into the league and the amount of viewership that she brings as pretty much one player, the league might be thinking, hey, listen, if she goes out with injury, then what happens? But I have to admit, I have not currently dived deep into these details to see like what the numbers are without Caitlin Clark, how much the league brings in without her, and if it can hold the exponential growth that is happening without her. I actually like the idea of expanding roster sizes because it does help minimize a lot of minutes on the court for the players, which in turn helps from preventing injury from overuse. The revenue sharing and roster sizes, I'm kind of here for though. But because the CBA does expire in October, if they don't find a way to work through that deadline, then the players would do an actual walkout. The playoffs are set to begin September 11th this year, with the last possible day for a game being October 17th. So that's just over 2 weeks into October. So there is potential for the players to walk out during the playoffs, and there potentially would not be a finals. But here is the statement the WNBPA put out. The WNBA's response to our proposal fails to address the priorities we voiced from the day we opted out, a transformational CBA that delivers our rightful share of business that we've built, improving working conditions, and ensures the success we create lifts both today's players and the generation that follow. We've told the league and teams exactly why their proposal falls so short. This business is booming. Media rights, ratings, revenue, team valuation, expansion fees, attendance, and ticket sales all are up in historic fashion, but shortchanging the working women who make this business possible stalls growth. The only thing more unsustainable than the current system is pretending it can go on forever. It's not that complicated. We are committed to the fight, we are committed to returning to the negotiating table, and we will not stop until we achieve the transformational CBA this moment demands. I mean, I don't know. I don't think this is on the table, but the officiating is definitely something I'd speak about because there have been rally cries from coaches, there have been rally cries from players, and obviously fans are putting their 2 cents in, but they are asking for change. They're asking for a little bit of like consistency in the officiating, and the officiating is one of the things that declares how much physicality is allowed on the court. I was going through the injuries of this season and comparing them to the previous few seasons, and just 1/4 of the way through, there were 105 injuries tallied so far. Last season, the total was 204, I believe, and the season before that was 175. And I'm not talking about 1/4 of the season. I'm talking about the 204 and 175 were the total of the entire season, and 1/4 of the way through, as of June 24th, the WNBA had 104. Actually, I'm sorry, that's 105, not 104. I'm probably saying things, I have no idea what I'm talking about, because honestly, I don't even know if the officiating is even able to be on the table for the WNBPA or the WNBA. I do think that the schedules need to be adjusted, and I do think that the officiating needs to be given a look at, because in the NBA, they had a very similar issue in the 90s. And in the 90s, the commissioner at the time, David Stern, he implemented a lot of rules to change the physicality and make the game more fast-paced and more like scoring first in order to enhance the game's entertainment value, because fans much prefer a faster-paced, higher scoring game. But I'm sure we will see updates. There are a lot of players commenting on this. You know, Tosh Cloud is like putting the hammer down, saying the players are not playing around. I actually think that there could be a walkout in October. I don't know if the league and the owners think that the league is sustainable, especially with Caitlin Clark having gotten injured 2 days before. I think that was a lot harder for the players to walk in and hold a lot of leverage. But I can't claim that right now. I do know the numbers well enough to have an informed opinion. Hopefully, we'll find out something else soon.